Hi again. We're moving forward in Suzuki Book 3 for violins and violas, so we're all good. So we're going to do song number 3. If you were working on song number 2, Mrs. Holdridge did a tutorial for that one, so take a peek at her video. All right, so song number 3 is called Gavotte in G minor. I know we've had a lot of gavottes. Gavottes are just like minuets or waltzes. They're a type of dance. All right, this one was written by Mr. Bach. This one also has a lot of repeats in it, which is kind of nice. And this one is made a little more difficult because of the key signature. Now, if anyone has obviously had me in a lesson, I like to say fantastic things about Mr. Suzuki. He didn't necessarily write all of the pieces in his books. He wrote a lot of them in the book 1. But what he did was he did a great job of collecting pieces that taught whatever it was that he was interested in working on, and he did them over and over and over again. So you'll notice in this book 3 you'll have a lot of pieces that have flat key signatures. So in this case it says G minor, Gavotte in G minor, okay, and we have it's a little bit different for viola because it's actually going to start on your open G string, where in the violin it's going to start 3 fingers up on your D string. Okay, so we have the same key signature for both of these, B flat and E flat. Okay, when you have flat key signatures on strings, you're going to automatically assume that you're going to have squishy 2s everywhere. You're going to have backwards first fingers most places. So on violin, you're going to have a backwards 1 on the E string because that's an F not sharped or natural. You're going to have a backwards 1 on the A string because that's a B flat. You're going to have a backwards 1 on the D string because that's an E flat. Okay. Now for viola, you're just not going to have that backwards 1 on the G string because that would be an A flat, and that's our 3rd flat. We don't have that one. Okay. The one thing that violins do have to remember is you cannot play your open E string because we've got an E flat in the key signature. So you're going to have to play 1, 2, 3, 4 flatted on the A string. All right, I'm going to model this one on the viola, and there might be a couple things that are different in this one, but I think you'll basically get the gist. Okay, I like to do 2 of them at a time so that we can make sure that we touch on all of these pieces. Okay, so Gavotte in G minor for viola starts on an open G string, and for violin starts 3 fingers on the A string. All right, so I'm going to play a little bit. Squishy. Squishy. Now we're going to remember a backwards 1, and the weird thing about this is the slurs. It makes the notes hook together, and they like the sound of this. So take a listen to the slurs. 2 to a bow. High F sharp. It's almost a repeat. Backwards 1. So that's actually your A section. It's 2 lines long, and the first line and the second line are almost a straight up repeat. So in measure 4, there's an F sharp. You have to play a high 3 for the violas. And in the violin part in measure 4, it's an F sharp as well, but you only have to do a high 2, and that's not as hard for us. All right. We're going to keep going. So in the violin book that I have, there's a written repeat. In the viola book, it's written out. All right. So we're going to keep going. Violins, I'm going on at measure 9, but violas, you're going to start halfway through. Halfway through measure 16. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to go up the scale, down the scale, and then there are also some slurs. Instead of slurring the first and second, the third and fourth, they alternate. So there's one alone, and then they slur the second and third, and it makes for an interesting slur. Okay, so here's the B section, middle of 16. Down the scale. Push, push. Now watch these slurs. Pull, push for 2. So that's interesting. All right, it's a little bit different. Now we have some slurs. Down, push, push. 1.5. All right, now we're alternating with an A section again, so that shouldn't be too hard. And again, the slurs, we can actually add those in after you've mastered your notes and rhythms. So if the slurs are too tricky to do, don't worry about it. Okay, now we're going to go on at the C section. The C section for violas is halfway through measure 32. Let's see. And it is halfway through 24 for violins. Now, the nice thing about this is they've marked in some naturals. So especially for violins, you're going to be able to use your open E string instead of having to do that flat that we were preparing for. So I'm going to start at the C section. Open D for violas with a sharp 3 coming up. High 3. Squishy. High 3. Now almost a repeat. Use your 4. All right, so it's nice. There are 3 sections in here, A, B, and C. And each section is almost a repeat within that section. All right, so in fact, it's A, B, and then within B it kind of repeats, and then A again, then C again. So it's just like that rondo that I was talking about in the first song. I'm not going to do the repeat in the violin. I'm going to play straight through. I'm not going to repeat the first A section. Okay, there we go. So starting 3 fingers on the D string. Flat 4, no open E. High 2, regular 1. Flat 4. Go on B section. Back to the A. Flat 4. Here's your C section. High 2, open. High 2. And finish it up. Flat 4. Hooray! All right. See you at Humoresque.